Okay.
until I can improve a lot.
Yes. So the key to improving your pronunciation is keep repeating and
Yes,
repeating,
yes,
and
yes.
until it gets perfect, until it's become perfect, I think.
Yeah.
So let's do this one again. Forest management in Pennsylvania, USA.
Forest management in Pennsylvania, USA.
Pennsylvania,
In
USA.
Pennsylvania, USA. How managing low quality wood, also known as low use wood for bioenergy, can encourage sustainable forest management.
Management.
Management. Forest.
Management.
Forest
Management.
management. Manage.
Management.
Forest.
Forest
Manage.
management.
Forest management.
Forest
Forest.
management.
Forest management.
Okay.
Forest management.
A tree's value depend
A
on
tree's value depends on several factors, including its species, size, form, condition, quality, function, and accessibility, and depends
and
on the
accessibility and depends on the management goals.
accessibility and depends on the management goals for a given forest. The same tree can be valued very differently by each person
By
who,
each person who looks at
by
it,
each person who looks at who
who
looks at
looks
it,
at it, who looks at it.
who looks at it. A large, straight black cherry tree had high value as timber to be cut into logs or made into furniture, but for a landowner more in, interested more
Interested
interested in wildlife
in
wild
wildlife habitat,
wildlife habitat
in
in wild
wildlife
in wildlife habitat, the real value of that stem or trunk, a
trunk, a
trunk, a
trunk.
trunk may be the food it provides to animals. Likewise, if the tree
Suffers
suffers from black
black
knot
knot
disease,
disease, black node disease.
its value for timber decreases, but to a good worker interested in making bows, it brings an opportunity for a unique and
A
beautiful
unique,
for a
a
unique
unique.
for a unique for a unique for a unique and beautiful pieces of art.
Yes.
Uh, uh,
Okay.
in the past, Pennsylvania landowners were solely inter, mm, interested
In the
in
past, Pennsylvania landowners were solely interested
interested interested in
interested in,
interested
interested in,
interested 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 in the past, Pennsylvania landowners were solely interested in the value of their trees at high-quality timber. The norm was to remove the stems of high quality and leave behind poorly formed trees that were not as well suited to the site where they grew. This practice called high grading had left
A legacy.
had left a legacy of low-yield wood in the forest. Some people even call these junk trees, and they are abundant in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania, these trees have lower
Economic.
uh,
These trees has
lower
low.
these
These
trees
trees.
have lower economic value.
Nhấn âm 3. Cái từ đó nhấn
E-
âm 3.
economic
These trees. Y kéo dài. These trees have
these
lower.
these trees
Have
these trees
trees have
have
lower
lower
value.
economic value for traditional timber markets, complete for pro with higher value trees. Trade out desirable.
Shade out desirable regeneration.
Yeah. Trade out desirable regeneration and decrease the health of a stand living it more
Vulnerable.
vulnerable
Vulnerable. Ba âm xoa
vulnerable
sao đó luôn.
it more
Vulnerable.
vulnerable
Vulnerable.
vulnerable
Vulnerable.
vulnerable vulnerable to poor weather
And
and disease
disease.
management that specifically targets
Specifically.
specifically targets low use wood can help landowners manage these forest health issues
Health
and
issues.
health for and these forest health issues
Yes.
and wood energy markets have promoted this. Wood energy markets can accept less expensive wood
Expensive
material,
là expensive rồi á. Less expensive.
less expensive, less is expensive
Wood
wood
energy markets. Let's
material,
start again. Wood energy market can accept less expensive. EV.
even expensive. Wood energy markets can accept less expensive wood material of lower quality than would be suitable for traditional timber markets. Most wood used for energy in is
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania is used to produce heat or electricity,
Electricity.
or heat or electricity through combustion.
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 Let's try
Combustion.
again. Most wood used for energy in Pennsylvania is used
Most most u-
wood.
most wood used
Most.
most
Most. Most.
most most wood used for energy in Pennsylvania is used to produce heat or electricity through
Combustion.
combustion through combustion. Many schools and hospitals
Many school.
Many schools
Many
and
schools and hospitals.
use
Hospital.
wood
Many
hospital.
schools and
Many
hospitals
Many schools and hospitals use wood boiler systems to heat and power
Y kéo dài, to
to
heat
heat
and power their
to heat
facilities.
to heat and power their facilities.
Heat
Many
and
homes
power their facilities.
there
Their.
to heat and power their facilities. Many homes are prim- primary primarily primarily
Primarily, you mean
primarily heated.
primarily? Many homes are
Many homes
primarily. Cái này là tính là trạng từ primarily.
primarily
Primarily.
many homes are primarily many homes are primarily heated with wood, and some coal plants
Incorporate.
incorporate wood
Incorporate.
into incorporate
Incorporate.
incorporate
Incorporate.
incorporate wood into coal streams.
Into their coal streams. Coal into
Into
their coal
their
streams. Coal into
coal
their coal
into
streams
their coal streams
to
to
produce
produce
electricity. Âm 2, âm 3 chứ.
electricity
Electricity. Electricity.
electricity to
Electricity.
produce electricity. So many schools and hospitals use wood boiler system to heat and power their facilities. Many homes are
Primarily.
primarily heated with wood, and some coal plants incorporate wood into their coal streams to produce electricity. Wood can also be gasified for electrical generation and can even be made into liquid fuels like ethanol and gasoline for lorries and cars. Are these are these are these products
Products.
are made
Products.
pro- are these products are made primarily
Primarily.
primarily 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 are made primarily from low-yield wood, several tree and plant cutting approaches, which could
Greatly improve the long-term quality
improve the long-term quality
of a forest.
of a forest.
Forest of a forest
Solely on the use of
of
wood
wood and for those
for
markets.
those markets. Okay, sovereignty and sovereignty and plant cutting
Approaches. Số nhiều, để ý số nhiều. Approaches.
approach
Approaches.
sovereignty and
Approaches.
plant cutting approaches, which could greatly improve the long-term quality of a forest. Focus strongly or solely on the use of wood for those markets. Again.
Okay, let's try once again.
Yeah.
Wood energy
Wood
markets.
energy markets can accept less expensive wood material of lower quality than would be suitable for traditional timber markets. Most wood use for energy in Pennsylvania is used to produce heat or electricity through combustion.
Combustion.
Many
Combustion. Combustion.
combustion,
Combustion.
combustion. Many schools and hospitals use wood boiler systems to heat and power their facilities. Many homes are
Primarily.
many homes are primarily heated with wood, and some coal plants incorporate wood into their coal streams to produce electricity. Wood can also be gasified for electrical generation and can even be made into liquid fuels like ethanol and gasoline for lorries and cars. All these products,
All these products.
all
All these
these,
products.
all these, all these, all these products are made primarily
Primarily,
from
những âm hai á, primarily.
primarily, primarily from low-use wood. Several tree and plant cutting approaches which could greatly improve,
Replacing it, which could
which could greatly
greatly improve, which could greatly
which
improve,
could greatly improve the
improve,
long-term
improve,
improve, which
which
could
could
greatly
greatly
improve
improve
the long-term quality of a forest. Focus strongly or softly on the use of wood for those markets.
Okay, D. Let's go to D now. One such approach is called
One such approach is called a timber stand improvement TSI cut. In a TSI cut, really poor quality tree and plant material is cut down to allow more space, light, and other resources to the high value stems that remain, removing invasive plants.
invasive plants.
Invasive plants might be another primary.
Cái này là primary đúng rồi, còn nãy là adverb primarily nha.
There be another primary goal of a TSI cut. The stems that are left behind might then grow in size and develop more foliage and larger crowns or tops that produce more coverage for wildlife. They have a better chance to regenerate in a less crowded environment. TSI cuts can be tailored
Can be tailored.
to one farmer's specific management goals for his
Specific
or
chứ.
her land.
One farmer specific nhau hai.
Specific
Specific
to
management
one
goals.
farmer's specific
Management goals.
To one farmer's specific management
Management
goals.
goals.
Specific management goals. Specific management goal for his or her land. TSI can be tailored to one farmer's specific management goals for his or her land. And one such approach is called a
Is
timber stand
code. Is code.
a timber stand improvement TSI cut in a
Yes.
TSI cut. Really poor quality tree and plant material is cut down to allow more space, light, and other resources to the
Resources.
highest
Resources.
really and other resources to the highest value stems that remain, removing invasive plants might be another primary goal. Might be another primary goal of a TSI cut. The stems that are left behind might then grow in size and develop more foliage.
Foliage. Develop more foliage.
More foliage and larger grounds or tops that produce more coverage for wildlife. They have a better chance to regenerate in a less crowded environment. TSI cuts can be tailored to one farmer's specific management goals for his or her land. Another approach that might yield a high amount of low-use wood is a fabric cut. Low-use wood is a fabric cut.
A salvage.
A salvage
cut.
A salvage cut
with the many pests and pathogens.
With the many pests
and pathogens.
Visiting forest. With the many pests and pathogens visiting forest, including hemlock, including hemlock, woolly, adelgid, including hemlock, woolly, adelgid, Asian
longhorn beetle. Asian longhorned beetle.
Asian longhorned beetle. Emerald as boar and gypsy moth. and gypsy moth, to name just a few.
Hiểu.
It is important to remember that those working in the forest can have easy these issues through cutting procedures. These types of cut reduce the number of sick trees and seek to manage the future spread of a pet problem. They live vigorous trees that have stayed healthy enough to survive the outbreak.
The outbreak. Outbreak.
The outbreak.
Outbreak.
The outbreak.
Break. The outbreak.
The outbreak.
Yes.
The outbreak. Another approach that might yield a high amount of low-yield wood is a
It's a salvage.
salvage.
L-A-L, ow, A-L, ow,
Is salvage
salvage.
cut.
Salvage.
Is a salvage cut with the many pests and pathogens visiting forest, including hemlock woolly
Adjective.
adjective,
Asian longhorn
Asian
beetle.
Asian longhorn
Beetle.
beetle,
Emerald
Asian
ash borer.
longhorn beetle. Em cho cái chữ nó nhỏ lại một xíu.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's hard to see, you know.
Small,
Emerald ash borer.
smaller.
Oh,
Small.
you would like it smaller? Okay.
Yes. Okay, that's good.
Because some people, they watch my video and they're like, oh, why is the font so small? Bigger, you know, they want it
I
bigger.
have a big screen.
Oh, you have a big screen, that's why.
Yeah. So too big, it's not good to keep whole sentence.
I know, but a lot of my viewers, they always want the font
I
bigger,
see.
bigger.
Yeah, bigger and
I think because
small.
they watch on their phone, I think.
Yes.
Because they watch on their phone,
Yeah.
that's why.
Yeah, exactly. I know that. Yeah, because a big screen, so many information on that. However, when we just put one document, it
One
is too hard to capture whole sentence. So we have to move your eyes quickly. Okay, Asian long beetle, emerald as border, and gypsies moth, to name just a few. It is important to remember that those working in the forest can have these issues through cutting procedures. These types of cut reduce the number of sick trees and seek to manage the future spread of a pet problem. They live vigorous. They live
vigorous trees.
vigorous.
They live vigorous trees.
They live vigorous trees that have stayed healthy enough to survive the outbreak. The outbreak.
Okay. To survive the outbreak. The outbreak. To survive the outbreak. Nó vẫn chưa có rõ ràng. I still feel like it's not really clear yet. A shelter would cut.
A shelter would. A shelter would cut. A
Which only
shelter
takes
would
place
cut.
in a mature
Which
forest.
only takes place
In a mature forest.
mature
Mature
forest. Mature forest. In shelter wood cut, which only takes place in a mature forest that has already been thinned several times.
several times. Thinned has already been thinned several times.
That has
Already been thinned several
that
times.
has already been thinned several times. Involves removing all the mature trees when other seedlings have become established. This then also this then allows the forester to decide which tree species are regenerated. It leaves a young forest where all trees are at a similar point in their growth. It can also be used to develop a two-tier forest. A two-tier forest, so that there are two harvests, and the money that comes in is spread out over a decade or more.
Over a decade or more. Spread out over a decade or more. Let's try again.
Over
A decade or
more.
more. Let's try again. A shelter would cut. Let's try again. A shelter would cut.
A shelter would cut, which only takes place in a mature forest that has already been thinned several times. Has already been thinned several times. Involves removing all the mature trees when other seedlings have become established.
Or the seedlings have become established.
Other seedlings have become
Seedling cẩn thận, y kéo dài. Or the seedlings.
other seedlings have become established. Other seedlings have
Seedling không phải sibling nha. Sibling là anh chị em trong nhà, con này là seedlings.
Seedlings. Other seedlings have become established. This then allows the forester to decide which tree species are regenerated. It leaves a young forest where all trees are at a similar point in their growth.
Point. A similar
a
point.
similar
Point.
point,
Point.
point,
Point.
point,
A similar
point,
point in their growth.
a similar point in their growth. It can also be used to develop a two-tier forest so that there are two harvests. There are two harvests, and the money that comes in is
That comes
is
in.
spread out
It's spread
over a
out over a decade
decade
or
or
more.
more.
Nó giống như nè. That comes in, và cái tiền mà nó đi vào thì được tỏa ra khắp một thập kỷ hay nhiều hơn thế. The money that
Okay.
comes in is spread out over a decade or more.
Okay.
Cái
The
ý nó là vậy, cái ý của
money
nó phải như vậy.
that come in
That comes in.
comes in the money that comes in is spread out over a decade or more. Again.
Sure. Okay.
And the money that comes in is spread out over a decade or more. Okay. A citrus wood cut which only takes place in a mature forest that had already been thinned several times involves removing all the mature trees. When all your seedlings have become established, this then allows the forester to decide which tree species are regenerated. It leaves a young forest where all trees are at a similar point in their growth. It can also be used to develop a two-tier forest so that there are two harvests and the money that comes
Harvest. 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 Hai vụ mùa.
harvest.
They're to harvest. Harvest.
To harvest, and the money that comes in is spread out over a decade or more. Cái từ harvest như vậy, cái s ở cuối cùng nó là
Harvest. Vụ mùa.
không.
Vụ thu hoạch.
Harvest.
Let's check this. Let's check harvest.
Yes.
Harvest.
Hoặc là
Harvest.
thực sự nó nghe giống như trên chữ Harvard vậy đó.
Yeah.
But same thing, I think. Harvest. To harvest. And the money that comes in is spread out over a decade or more.
There are two harvests, and the money that comes in
is spread out over a decade or more.
The money that comes in is spread out over a decade or more. Cái từ harvest là tại vì nó có cái gì đó số nhiều ở cuối á, cho nên là
Harvest. Nó ST nó mạnh hơn âm S nha, cho nên bỏ qua được. Harvest.
như vậy là bỏ qua cái S ở cuối mà mình
Không
đọc
phải lúc nào cũng đọc
ST.
tất cả, tại vì phải xem cái âm nào nó lấn át âm nào nữa nha.
Rồi hiểu.
ST lúc nào rất là mạnh, cho nên là nó sẽ lấn át những âm khác. Harvest.
Gặp những cái từ như vậy thì anh bị cái nhập nhằng là nên ending bằng cái sao như thế nào, thì cái này starter thì nó sẽ mạnh hơn chính xác, cho nên đôi khi là lưỡng lự là sờ ở cuối hay là starter.
Harvest.
Okay.
Nó...
Harvest
nó kỳ lắm luôn á.
đó. Okay, again, one more time.
Okay.
A shelter would cut.
Shelter would. SH.
A shelter would cut.
A shelter would cut would only takes place.
A shelter would cut would only takes place in a mature forest that has already been thinned
several times.
several times, involves removing all the mature trees when other seedlings has become
Seedlings.
seedlings,
Seedling.
seedling. Other seedlings have become established. This then allows the forester to decide which tree species are regenerated. It leaves a young forest where all trees are at a similar point in their growth. It can also be used to develop a two-tier forest so that there are two harvests, and the money that comes in is spread out over a decade or more. Thinnings and density and that good removal for fire prevention also center on the production of low-yield wood. Thickness and density and that wood removal for fire prevention also center on the production of low-yield wood.
Low-use
wood.
However, it's important to remember.
It is important to remember that some retention of what many would classify as low-use wood is very important. The tops of trees that have been cut down should be left on the side so that there are nutrients cycle back into the soil. In addition, trees with many cavities are extremely important habitats for insect
Insect what?
For insect predator.
Insect predators like woodpeckers.
Insect predator
like woodpeckers.
Like woodpeckers.
Like woodpeckers. Bats and small mammals.
And small mammals. In addition, trees with many cavities are extremely important habitats for insect predators like woodpeckers, bats, and small mammals.
They help control
problem insects and increase
the
health and
resilience
of the forest. They have control problem insects and increase the health and resilience of the forest. It is also important to remember that not only small trees are low use. For example, many species like hawthorn provide, provide
Food for
wood,
wildlife.
provide wood for wildlife. Finally, raise a rare species, rare species of trees in a forest should also stay behind as they add to its structural diversity. Finally, their species of trees in a forest should also stay behind as they add to its add, add to its
Structural, yeah.
Add to its structural diversity
Mhm.
its structural diversity again.
Okay, let's do it again. Thinnings and dense
Okay,
and deadwood
thickness,
removal.
thickness and density and that would removal for fire prevention also center on the production of low-use wood. However, it is important to remember that some retention of what many would classify as low-use wood is very important. The tops of trees that have been cut down should be left on the site so that their nutrients cycle back into the soil. In addition, trees with many cavities are extremely important habitats for for insect predators like woodpeckers, bats, and small mammals. They have control problem insects and increase the health and resilient resilient of the forest. It is also important to remember that
Not
not
all small
all
trees.
trees. It is also that it is also important to remember that not
Not
all
all
small
small
trees
trees are low yield.
are low use. For example, many species like hawthorn provide food for wildlife. Finally, rare species of trees in a forest should also stay behind as they add to
Dây rồi,
its
lại dây, lại dây.
they
As
they
day. This, that, these,
add
those, them,
to
day.
as
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 they add to its.
as 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 they add to its structural diversity.
Okay. All right. Maybe it's time to go to part 3 now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this one again. Conquering Earth space junk problem. But first, I think you need to take a break first. Let's
Okay.
take a break. Okay, Mr. Hung, let's do conquering Earth space junk problem, the next passage. Conquering Earth space junk problem.
Conquering us space junk problem.
Earth,
Shopping.
Earth,
Conquering
Earth, Earth,
conquering Earth.
Earth, space junk problem.
Earth.
Cái âm sờ thẻ lưỡi này á, nó có thể nó thắng thế âm S này luôn.
À,
Conquering Earth, space junk problem. Earths.
như vậy trong một số âm mà có S nằm ở cuối, nhưng mà nếu cái âm trước á mà
Nó
nó
mạnh
mạch
hơn chứ gì?
thì mình bỏ qua
Nó
cái
lấn
S đó.
át nha, nó lấn át nha. Yeah.
Ok,
Nó
ok.
cũng giống như là cái chữ H đó, cái chữ H á, nó là cái chữ H á, nó là một cái âm mà nó yếu hơn hẳn so với nhiều phụ âm khác, cho nó
Âm
đóng vai trò
câm cho
kéo
nên nhiều
dài.
khi nó câm luôn.
Đúng rồi, hoặc nó kéo dài cái phụ âm khác ra. Ví dụ trong cái chữ này
À,
nè, exhaust chẳng hạn.
exhaust,
Đó, cái chữ này là
exhaust.
exhaust, cái âm H nó không
Đúng
đọc,
rồi.
không, hoặc là
Is,
exhaust nè,
I mean
mà nó kéo
exhaust,
dài cái âm Z, kéo dài cái âm Z này ra.
exhaust, exhaust,
Exhaust, exhaust chẳng hạn.
exhaust,
Đó, chẳng hạn như vậy. Alright.
exhaust.
Conquering, okay, let's do conquering Earth space junk problem.
Conquering Earth,
Earth
conquering
space
Earth
junk problem.
space junk problem. Conquering Earth space junk problem. Satellites, rocket shadows, and debris, collision debris are creating major
Are
and
creating
are
major traffic risk.
creating major traffic
Traffic
risk.
risk.
Are creating major traffic risks.
Risk.
Risk. Are creating major traffic risks in orbit around the planet. Researchers are working to reduce these threats. Conquering, conquering, conquering Earth, conquering Earth, space junks problem,
Satellites, rocket shards,
satellites, rocket shards,
and
and
collision
collision
debris. Debris hoặc là debris
are
và debris.
debris,
Yeah.
and collision debris are creating major traffic risks in orbit around the planet. Researchers are working to reduce these threats.
These what?
Last year, to reduce this threat, last year, commercial companies, military and civil departments and amateurs sent more than 400 satellites and amateurs sent more than 400 satellites into orbit, over 4 times the yearly average in the
In the
in the previous
in the
decade.
previous
Previous
in the previous
previous
in the previous decade.
in
Yearly
previous
average in the previous decade. Previous decade. Âm đầu.
the yearly average in the previous decade. Numbers could rise even more sharply if leading space companies follow through on plans to deploy hundreds to thousands of large constellations of satellites to space in the next few
Next.
years.
Mở rộng đi. Next.
Next,
In the next few
in the
years.
next
In the
few
next
years.
few years.
In the next few years. Conquering Earth, space junk problem, satellites, rocket stars, or collision debris are creating major traffic risks
Risk.
in risk
In
are
orbit around a
creating
planet.
major
Traffic risk.
risk
In orbit around a planet.
in orbit around the planet. Researchers are working to reduce
These threats. These threats.
this threat. Last year, commercial companies, military
Military.
and military,
Military. I'm down.
military,
Military.
commercial company, military and civil departments and amateurs sent more than 400 sent more than 400 satellites into orbit, over 4 times the daily average in the previous decade.
In a previous decade.
In a previous in pre-
In
previous
the previous decade.
in the previous in the previous decade, numbers could rise even more sharply if leading space companies follow through on plans to deploy hundreds to thousands of large constellations of satellites to space in the next few years.
Okay. All the traffic can lead to disaster. Okay.
All that traffic can lead to disaster. 10 years ago,
Disaster.
all that traffic can lead to
Disaster.
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 Disaster can lead to disaster. 10 years ago, a U.S. commercial iridium satellite smashed into an in into an inactive Russian communication into an inactive Russian communication satellite called called Cosmos 2251, creating thousands of new species of space
Shrapnel.
of space shrapnel that now threaten other satellites.
Threaten.
That now threaten other satellites in low Earth orbit.
In low Earth orbit. Space
In
shrapnel
low
that
Earth
now threaten other
orbit.
satellites in low
In
Earth
zone,
orbit.
in zone stretching in zone stretching up to 2,000 kilometers.
Kilometer.
Into up to 2,000 kilometers in altitude. The zone stretching up to 2,000 kilometers in altitude. Altogether, there are roughly 20,000 human-made objects in orbit, from working satellites to small rocket species, and satellite operators can steer away from every potential crash because each move consumes each move
Each
consumes
move consume
because each move consumes time and fuel that could otherwise
be
be used
used for the
for
spacecraft.
the spacecraft
Spacecraft's main job.
for the spacecraft
Spacecraft's main job.
for the spacecraft
Main
main
job.
job main job.
Okay, let's try it once again. Satellite operators can steer away from
And
every potential crash.
and satellite operators can steer away from every potential crash because each move consumes time and fuel that could otherwise be used for the spacecraft crafts main job for the spacecraft's main job. Again, each sentence.
Okay.
And satellite operators can
Can
steer
steer
away
away
from every potential crash because each move consumes time and fuel that could otherwise be used for the spacecraft main job. Again, whole sentence. All that traffic can lead to disaster. 10 years ago, a U.S. commercial iridium satellite smashed into an inactive Russian communications satellite called Cosmos 2251, creating thousands of new pieces of space shrapnel that now threaten other satellites in low Earth orbit. The zone stretching up to
the
2,000
zone
kilometers.
stretching up to
Those
the zone.
the
Oh,
zone
in a zone.
the
The
zone
zone stretching up to
the
2,000
zone
kilometers.
the zone stretching up to 2,000 kilometers in
Kilometers in altitude.
to 2,000 kilometers
In
in
altitude.
altitude. Are together, there are roughly
20,000 human-made objects
20,000 human-made objects
in
in
orbit.
orbit, from working satellites to small rocket pieces, and satellite operators can steer away from every potential crash because each move consumes time and
And
fuel
fuel.
that could otherwise be used for the
The spacecraft's
spacecraft's
main job.
main job.
For the spacecraft's main job.
For the spacecraft main job.
Okay.
For the,
So sao á?
for the spacecraft main
Main
job.
job. Ủa, sao
Concern
sao á?
about, okay.
All that traffic can lead to disaster.
All that traffic can lead to disaster. 10 years ago.
Disaster.
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 All that traffic can lead to disaster. 10 years ago, a U.S. commercial iridium satellite smashed into an inactive, inactive,
Inactive.
into an inactive Russian communications satellite called Cosmos 2251, creating thousands of new pieces of space shrapnel that now threaten other satellites in low Earth orbit. Those stretching up
The
to
zone stretching up.
the zone, the zone,
Zone, O-N.
the zone,
The zone, the
the zone,
zone
the
stretching up.
zone, on,
O-N,
the
O-N,
zone,
O-N.
zone, the zone, the zone, the
Zone,
zone
O-N.
stretching,
Zone
oh,
stretching up.
and the zone,
Zone.
the zone,
The
the
zone
zone,
stretching
the
up to
zone, the zone stretching up to 2,000
2,000 kilometer
kilometers in altitude.
altitude.
Altogether, there are roughly 20,000 human-made objects in orbit, from working satellites to small rocket pieces, and satellite operators can steer away from every potential crash because each move consumes time and fuel that could otherwise be used for the spacecraft's main job.
Okay.
Concern, concern
Concern about
about
space junk.
concern concern about space junk goes back to the beginning of the satellite era, but the number of objects in orbit is rising so rapidly.
Rapidly. Rapidly.
Is rising so rapidly, but the number of objects in orbit is rising so rapidly that researchers are investigating new ways of attacking the problem. Several teams are trying to improve methods of assessing what is in orbit so that satellite operators can work more efficiently in ever more crowded space. Some researchers are now starting to comply, are now starting to compile a massive
Compile.
data compile
Starting to compile a massive data set or data set.
now starting to compile a massive dataset that includes the best possible information on where everything is in orbit. Some researchers are now starting to compile a massive dataset that includes the best possible
best st the
the
best
best the best possible
possible information
possible the best possible information on where everything is in orbit. Others are developing taxonomy. Others are developing taxonomies of space debris, working on
measuring properties
measuring properties such as the shapes, the,
such as
such, such,
such as the
such as
shape
yes,
such as
the
the
shape,
shape and size
such as the shape
and
and
size of an object of an object
object. Okay. Others are developing taxonomies of space debris, working on measuring properties such as the
Shape.
and a shape, such as the shape and size of an object, so that satellite operators know how much to worry about what's coming their way. Working on measuring properties such as the shape and size of an object, so that satellite operators know how much to worry about what's coming their way.
What is coming their way?
What is was coming their way. So to know how much to worry about what is coming their way. Their way. So how much to worry about what's coming their way again.
Okay. Concern about space junk.
Concern about space junk goes back to the beginning of the satellite era, but the number of objects in orbit is rising so rapidly that researchers are investigating new ways of attacking the problem. Several teams are trying to improve methods for assessing
What is in orbit?
what is in orbit, so that satellite operators can work more efficiently in ever more crowded space. Some researchers are now starting to compile a massive dataset that includes
The best
the
possible.
best possible information on where everything is in orbit. Others are now developing taxonomies of space debris, working on measuring properties such as the shape,
The
and
shape and size.
the
The
shape
shape.
and size,
Such
the
as the
shape,
shape and size
the shape and size
of an
of
object.
an object, so that satellite operators know how much to worry about what's coming their way.
Hmm. Hmm. What's coming their way mới đúng.
Was coming
Their
there.
way.
cái S chỗ what này đọc sao?
What's coming? What's
Was coming.
what's
Was
coming?
coming their way.
What's coming their way? Okay, the alternative.
Alternative.
I'm sure. Alternative. The alternative. The
The
alternative.
alternative. The alternative.
Many say is unthinkable.
The alternative, many say is unthinkable.
Unthinkable.
Unthinkable. The alternative, many say, is unthinkable.
Unthinkable.
Unthinkable. Unthinkable. The alternative, many say, is unthinkable. Just a few uncontrolled spacecrafts could generate enough debris to set off a runaway cascade of fragments,
Okay.
rendering near
Near Earth
render
space
near
unusable.
Earth space unusable,
Unusable. Unusable.
unusable,
Unusable.
rendering
Unusable.
near Earth space unusable. Just a few uncontrolled spacecrafts could generate enough debris to set up a runaway cascade of fragments,
Cascade.
rendering
Cascade.
cascades, cascade, cascade of fragments to set up a runaway cascade of fragments, rendering near Earth space unusable. If we go on like this, we will reach a point of no return, says Caroline Frio, at an astrodynamical an art,
Astrodynamical.
art
Astrodynamical, I think.
an
Dynamical.
astrodynamical researcher at Purdue University in Great Lafayette,
In
Indiana.
Lafayette.
In Lafayette,
West
Indi
Lafayette, Indiana.
in Lafayette, Indiana.
Oh, let's try again. The alternative, many says, is unthinkable.
The alternative, many say,
Alternative. EV. Alternative.
the alternative, the
Alternative.
alternative, the
Alternative.
alternative, many say, is unthinkable. Just a few uncontrolled space crafts could generate enough debris to set up a runaway
Cascade.
cascade of fragment renderings near Earth space unusable. If we go on like this, we will,
If we go on like this.
if we go on like this,
This.
we will reach a point if we will reach a point of no return.
Point.
A
Point.
point
A point of no return.
we will reach a point of no return, says Caroline Fruer, an
Caroline Frewer. An
astrodynamic
astrodynamical, I think.
astrodynamical an astrodynamical researcher, an astrodynamical researcher at Purdue University in Great Lafayette, in Indiana. The
Okay, even
alternative,
as our ability, let's go to C. Even as our ability
even as our ability to monitor space objects increases.
increases.
So to those the total numbers,
Of
the
items in
total
orbit.
number of items in orbit. That means companies, governments, and other players in space are collaborating in new ways. Collaborating in space are collaborating in new ways to avoid the threat international groups such as
International groups.
international group such as the interagency
Space debris.
interagency
Space
by
debris.
debris coordinate coordination committee
Have developed guidelines.
have developed guidelines on space sustainability. Those include inactivating satellites. Those include is activating satellites at the end of their useful at the end of their useful life by venting
Venting pressurized. Pressure cái bị dính từ ngoài đúng không?
pressure
Pressure.
pressure by
Pressure.
venting
Pressurized. Pressurized. Pressurized.
by venting pressurized materials or leftover fuel. Wait. Those include inactivating satellites at the end of their useful life by venting pressurized
Pressurized.
by venting pressurized materials or leftover fuel that might lead to
explosion. The intergovernmental groups.
To lead to explosion. The intergovernmental groups are also advised lower satellites deep enough into the atmosphere that they will burn up or disintegrate or disintegrate within 25 years. The intergovernmental groups
also advise
lower satellites deep enough into the atmosphere that they will burn up or disintegrate within 25 years, but so far only about half of our missions have abided.
I think abided nên là động từ to abide đó. To abide by the gì đó, ví dụ abide by the law, tuân thủ luật pháp chẳng hạn. Abide. So they have abided. I think abided by this. Have abided by this. Abided by this 25 years ago. Have abided by this.
Have abided by
this 25 years ago. 25 years ago.
This 25 years ago, our missions have have habit by these 25-year goals, says hunger crack.
What?
Says hunger crack.
Holger
Head of
Krag, head of the European Space Agency Space Debris Office.
says hunger crack. Head of the European Space Agency's Space Debris Office in Dam Darmstadt, Germany. Operators of the planet constellation. The planet lacks constellations of satellites. Say they will be
They will be
responsible
stewards.
they will be responsible stewards. They will be responsible receipts. They will be responsible stewards.
Steward.
They will be responsible stewards in their enterprise in space. But crack worries that problems could increase. But crack worries that problems could increase.
Despite their
Despite-
best intentions.
Despite
Despite
their
despite
despite
their
best
best intentions.
despite their best intentions.
Despite their
Despite
best intentions.
despite
Despite
their
their best
best
intention.
intentions. Despite their best intentions. Despite their best intentions. What happens to those that fail or go bankrupt? He asked. What happens to those that
fail to go
bankrupt?
He asked.
Ask.
They are probably not going to spend money.
They are probably not
Probably.
They are probably not going.
Cẩn thận,
They are
probably với properly khác nhau.
They are
Probably.
They are probably. They are
No, không có probably, nó phải rõ ràng nha. Probably.
They are probably not going to spend money to remove their satellites from space.
Okay, let's try it once again. Even as our ability to monitor space objects increases. Let's try it once again.
Even as our ability to monitor space objects increases, so too does the total lead to the total number of items in orbit. That means companies, governments, and other players in space are collaborating in new ways to avoid a shared threat. International groups such as the Interagency Space Debris Coordination Committee
Committee.
Committee
Coordination committee
Coordination Committee
have developed
have
guidelines.
developed guidelines on space sustainability. Those include inactivating satellites. Those include inactivating satellites at the end of their useful at the end of their
Useful life. At the end of their useful life.
useful life. At the
Useful
end
life.
their
At the end of their useful life.
useful life.
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 At the end of their useful life. By venting pressurized materials.
By venting pressurized materials or leftover fuel that might lead to explosions. Might lead to explosions. The intergovernmental groups also advise lower satellites deep enough into the atmosphere that they will burn up or disintegrate within 25 years. But so far, only about half of our missions have abided by this 25-year goal.
By this 25-year goal. Abided nha. Have abided by. Can you write this one down? Abide.
Mission have abided.
This one is abide.
Abide.
To abide. Have abided by this 25-year goal.
Abided 20 years ago. Abided by this 20 years ago. Our missions have abided by this 20 years ago, says Holger Clark, head of the European Space
Agency's Space Debris Office
in Darmstadt, Germany. Operators of the planned large constellations of satellites say they will be responsible stewards. They will be responsible steward in their enterprise in space, but Clark worries that problems could increase despite their best intentions. What happens to those that fail or go bankrupt.
Bankrupt.
Bankrupt. Bankrupt. He said, he asked, he asked operators of the plan la constellations of satellites say they will be responsible stewards in their enterprise in space, but Rag worries that problems could increase despite their best intentions.
Intention.
Intention. Dec- 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 describe dec- despite despite their their best
Invention.
inventions. What happens to those that fail or go bankrupt?
Yes.
He asked. They are probably not
Probably nha. Probably khác properly nha.
robber.
Cái này
They are
probably.
probably
Probably là kiểu gì cũng sẽ làm gì đó, nó khả năng xảy ra cao á. Something very highly likely, very likely.
They
Probably.
are probably.
Nhưng mà cái từ này có nghĩa là một cách đàng hoàng nè. Properly. Nó nghe rất giống nhau cho nên là phải làm rõ ràng với cái hai từ này nè. Một cách rõ ràng, một cách đúng đắn, cho một cách mà người ta mãn nguyện. Một cách đàng hoàng. Properly với probably khác nhau nghĩa. Probably. Okay. Let's try it again.
They are
So far, only about half of all missions have abided by this 25-year goal. Let's start from there.
But so far not
Only about half
but so far only about half of
of
our
all missions
have abided by the 25-year goal, says Holger Crack, head of the European Space Agency's Space Debris Outfit in Darmstadt, Germany. Operators of the plan large constellations of satellites say they will be responsible stewards in their enterprise in space, but Crack worries that problems could increase
despite their
best inventions. What happens to those that fail or go bankrupt? He asked. They are probably not going to spend money to remove the satellites from space. What happens to those that fail or go bankrupt? He asked. They are probably not going to spend money to remove the satellites from space. Better. But so far, not about half of our missions have abided by the 25 goal, says Holger Crack, head of the European Space Agency's
Space Debris Office.
Space Debris Office in Darmstadt, Germany. Operators of the plan large constellations of satellites say they will be responsible stewards in their enterprise in space, but Craig worries that problems could increase despite, despite their best intentions. What happens to those that fail or go bankrupt? He asked. He asked. They are probably not going
Probably,
to.
probably, probably. They
They
are
are
probably. They are
probably. They are
probably.
probably. They are probably. They are
Probably. They are
probably.
probably.
They are probably. They are probably not going to spend money to remove their satellites from space. They are probably not going to spend money to remove their satellites from space.
Okay. Okay. Let's try D now. In theory, given the vastness of space,
Okay.
in
In
theory,
given
theory.
in theory, given the vast need of space, satellite operators should have plenty of room for all these missions to fly safely without ever nearing another object. So some scientific so some scientists are tackling the problem of space junk by trying to find out where all the outbreak is to a high degree of precision. Precision.
Say again.
So some scientists are tackling the problem of space junk by trying to find out where all the object is to a high degree of precision.
What? A high degree of
Precision.
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 It's precision, I think. It's precision.
Precision.
Dần nha, âm DZ nha.
Precision.
Precision. High degree of precision. High degree of
Precision.
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 Precision. Precision.
Precision.
Precision.
Precision. So some scientists are tackling the problem of space junk by trying to find out where
all the
all the
debris
debris is
to a
to
high
a
degree
high
of precision.
degree of precision.
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 Precision. That would alleviate
That would gì? That would alleviate. Nhưng âm hai. Alleviate. That would alleviate the need for
that would
many.
alleviate the need for many of the unnecessary Nano.
For many
Nano.
of the gì tính từ necessary, tính từ necessary ấn những âm ness.
Unnecessary.
No, những âm
Unnecessary.
ness, tính từ necessary thì là unnecessary
Unnecessary.
maneuvers, maneuvers,
Unnecessary maneuver.
unnecessary maneuvers,
The
unnecessary
necessary maneuver.
that are
Unnecessary.
carried out to avoid potential collisions.
Unnecessary. Unnecessary maneuver. Unnecessary maneuver that are carried out to avoid potential collisions. That would alleviate the need for many of the unnecessary maneuver that are carried out to avoid potential collisions.
Collision.
Collisions. If you knew precisely, if you knew precisely, cái này là đọc
What?
precisely.
If you know precisely.
Yeah. If
Tức
you
là
know
adverb của nó. If you
precisely,
knew precisely where
if you
everything
knew
was.
precisely where
Precisely.
everything was,
Precisely.
if you knew
Precisely.
precisely, if you
Precisely.
knew precisely, if you knew precisely where everything was, you would almost never have a problem. You would almost never have a problem, says Marlon Soros, a space debris specialist. A space debris specialist.
Specialist. A space debris specialist.
A
Space
space
debris
debris
specialist. Specialist. Specialist.
A space debris specialist at the Aerospace Corporation in
El Segundo, California.
In El Segundo, California.
El Segundo, California. Okay. That's
Okay,
time
we
now.
can
We
stop
need to
here.
rest now, I think.
Yeah.